Hey guys, for today's video, I'm going to be setting up some pages in my new reading journal. So I will be decorating, coloring, and filling in some details on a few pages. But before I get into that, I want to show you guys some new washi tapes from the Washi tape shop. So I'm going to do a little unboxing, and then I will be using some of that washi when I decorate some of the pages. So let's go ahead and get into the unboxing. For my reading journal for 2023, I'm just using a composition size notebook that I picked up from Daiso. It has the grid lines on it and it was very cheap. I didn't want to spend too much money on a journal because I'm basically only using it for about 6 months. I know it's weird to start a reading journal in the middle of the year, but better late than never. And I decided to use Printables instead of trying to hand draw charts and graphs and stuff. I'm just not really good at bullet journaling, so Printables for me was the way to go. I will link down below what Etsy shop I used. And I think this file came with 77 printables or PDFs, and I just printed out the ones that I knew that I was going to use. And then once I printed out the papers that I wanted to use, I just trimmed them with my paper trimmer and then glued them to the existing pages in the notebook. But before I glued them in, I do want to mention that I used sticky notes to plan out what I wanted on each page before I used the glue stick. And again, I will link everything down below, including these printables as well. I really wanted a vintage look for my book journal or my reading journal. It's just a common theme that I always go back to, even in my other journals. And I really loved the images on this printable set. They were just really pretty and very bookish, so I decided to use them. And so yeah, I'm just adding 2023 reading journal. I have terrible handwriting, so I knew I wanted to use stickers or stamps or something in place of my handwriting for the title page. And then I just go in with some of the washi tapes that I just unboxed and kind of played around with different flowers, and I decided on kind of having them poke out at the corners and then covering them with a bird. I just thought it looked very whimsical and vintage at the same time, and I love flowers and birds. These stickers were actually my favorite, these washi stickers, these birds. They're beautiful, probably the coolest washi tape I've ever received. And then again, I just make almost like a bouquet in the corner, and I just kind of like how it's popping out from behind the corners, and then anything that's left on the end I just trim off. And then for the yearly reading goals page, I decided just to trim up some of those flowers and kind of have them poke out at the top. And the next page I decided to decorate was the TBR page or to be read page. And this was probably the spread that I was most excited to do, or the pages that I was most excited to do, because I've seen a lot of different TBR spreads on Pinterest for reading journals, and a lot of them have that vintage look or vintage collage. And I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do, so I'm just kind of ripping up some of this sticker paper or sticker sheet, and then I'm also using some of the printables from that Etsy shop that I downloaded them from, and kind of making a little collage. And I wanted to be sure not to cover up too much of the page, just kind of focusing on the corners, because I'm going to be filling the rest of the page with the titles of the books that I want to read. I printed them out on sticker paper, and I printed them all the same size, around 1.5 inches by 1 inch. And I just found that would be easier than gluing each title in. I don't know. I had sticker paper and I just used Canva to kind of do the layout for the stickers and make them all the same size. And then I just stuck them down around the pages. I started to do them straight, but then I was I don't like the way that looks. It looks too perfect or uniform. And so I decided to kind of just be a little bit more fun with it. And I saved the middle for the 2 series that I want to read and that I've started reading. I started the Finley Donovan series. I read the first book, and then I'm currently on the first book of ACOTAR, or A Court of Thorns and Roses. So I saved the middle for that. So yeah, I'm just laying out those titles on the page, and I really like how it turned out. And I feel like this is a good amount for the rest of the year of books that I want to get done. I think I set a goal of like 25 books by the end of the year. And again, I just started in May. So for someone that didn't read a lot before, hardly ever, I think 25 books is pretty ambitious for 6 months. So I did finish Notes on an Execution. I did finish that one on my TBR list. I also finished, again, the first Finley Donovan series. And I did read those books, but I'm listening to the audiobook of Evelyn Hugo right now. And then again, I'm reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. But again, I'm using those birds because I just thought they were so beautiful. They needed to be on another page. And then I just trim off whatever's hanging off on the edges, and then I'm using some more of those flowers. And I really love how this page turned out. It's so fun to look at. And my bookshelf page, I wanted to color the bookshelves themselves, but the actual books I only color in when I have read the book. So I end up only coloring in 2 books, again, because I did finish 2 books this month. But I really wanted these shelves to look like some shelves that I have in my living room, and they have that industrial look, so that's kind of where I was going with like the sides. They kind of look like pipes to me, and then I'm just coloring in the shelves brown. Pretty boring right here, but I do like to color a lot, and I find it very therapeutic, but I can't do all of the pages in this video because it would take forever, again, because I like to take my time. I like to color, and this video would be like 5 hours long if I decided to do every single page. So I'm just doing a few and obviously speeding things up, but I am using my Tombow colored pencils. I picked these up at Costco in Japan, and they were super cheap, and Tombow is not a cheap, I mean, it's not expensive, but it's not cheap either. I do have some brush pens, and I want to say I paid under 3,000 yen for the colored pencils, so I was really excited. I end up doing like a color key at the bottom, so each color represents a different genre, and I kind of cut it off, so that's why I decided not to put it in there. But I did go ahead and color in 2 books, which were both like mystery/thrillers. And then I'm using more washi tape stickers from the washi tape shop, and I had purchased these last November, and I just really liked the candles and the pumpkins, and I thought they would look cute on a shelf. And then next, I decided to go ahead and color in the key for my yearly reading goals. And this is where I will color in how many minutes per day that I read. And I covered up January through April with a bird. I'll probably go back and put more stickers there, but I'm not going to be using that space, so it was fine. And then I'm kind of just filling in some of the questions it asks me, like what are my reading goals, what's keeping me from reading, and most of the time I'm just unintentionally scrolling on Facebook, TikTok. I'm spending way too much time on my phone or too much screen time. So that's something that I've definitely been working on, and I've been trying to read for a couple hours each night, and I would say 5 out of 7 nights I'm in bed by 9 reading my book, and it really does help put me to sleep. And then on this page I am just writing down the books basically on my TBR, and then there's also a spot to be able to check off if I've purchased those books. So that's pretty much what I did there, and that's pretty much it for the rest of the video. I'm just filling out my reading wish list and then checking off if I've purchased the book or not. And I recently went to a city called Kyoto in Japan, and I found a bookstore that had a pretty decent size English section. Believe it or not, it's not that easy to find English books in Japan. I wonder why. But so I will be ordering an e-reader just because I can get books faster than having to order them online. And I also just became, I guess, a member of Audible. So I was actually listening to an audiobook, Evelyn Hugo, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, when I was journaling or working on my reading journal for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see me do my book reviews in this reading journal. I'm really excited about doing different like theme spreads based on like the characters in the book and how I imagine the scenery and everything. So let me know down below if you want to see that. I actually have 2 that I need to get on because I finished 2 books, but that's going to be it for this video. Again, check the links down below for the washi tape shop as well as the Etsy links for the printables, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.